Hi, this is Elliot Way Sage. I want to go ahead and do a market update. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Market's been acting really erratically lately. I believe the system is trying to shake out leverage before it makes a big move, up or down. I still think down is favored. So we just keep an open mind though on where the indices can go. But I still like the short side at the moment. But do what's best for you. There's a lot of news out there, and is the situation getting worse? Right? It seems like that's the case. If it continues to escalate, then I would say the indices should continue to be under pressure, despite this brief bursts of euphoria that come across the market. So the Dow Jones looks like it's in this like 1-2 here. Now this can also be 3 swings down. I'm really forcing an impulse from here. The other is could be a 1-2, 1-2. A lot of options. I called it the 1-2 because you do have the daily cycle break here. So you are correct in this whole move. The other is it's a WX, and then we get Y, and then we get another 3 waves up, which I'm starting to lean toward. Like I said, I think the longer this goes on, the less likely some big grand super cycle crash will happen, but I do think the decline is not over. So maybe a better way to label this would be a WXY correction, something like this. And then if it does crash, well, so be it. We'll change the labels. So if we are in X, what we want to do is look for a connector wave. We have one here, which means we should still push higher in the Dow here until we erase divergence. And 4-hour in the daily looks okay. So I mean, could it truncate? It can always truncate, but it wouldn't surprise me to see the Dow continue to push higher. The SPY did hit a sell area. I believe this is an ABC and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It finally hit it today, and it got a nice rejection there. So we'll have to wait and see if that was an important moment. And then again, here you have this 1, 2. We'll see what happens there, and then. The triple Qs, again, have 5 waves, and we come up in this wedge, we break down, and now we're in this like 1, 2, 1, 2. But the bears really are in control. You have lower lows and lower highs, and I think tomorrow's price action is very important. If we can break back below 363.5, that would be really good for the bears. If we start to break above these peaks and this downtrend line, then the bulls may be taking control of the market. IWM could probably see a little bit higher here in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a flat A, B, C. We'll see if that happens. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in the market right now. And I do think we have another leg lower. Even if I don't want to call this 2, if I want to call this another WXY, so be it. I don't really care about those details right now. I just care about where are we going to be come the end of October, early November, and I believe we'll be lower. And then we can worry about the wave count later. Is there always a chance of a crash? There always is. You could always get the grand super cycle crash, but those are the things you just you don't plan for. But as long as I'm planning for downside, I'll still profit from the crash or just a correction. It doesn't matter to me. If it's a crash, great. If it's not, doesn't matter. There's not really worried about it. Then let's just take a look at some of the other markets. Bitcoin really pumped on this spike up. But to really understand and analyze it, we need to see if we have divergence or not. So let's take a look and see what we have here. And as you can see, we do have divergence on the daily. That's significant. And the weekly doesn't really matter, but as you can see, the weekly cycle even broke higher on this, or is right on resistance right here. It's right on trendline resistance. This is actually kind of important moment for Bitcoin. It's kind of trading on its own. There was some fake news that was released that caused the pump, and it's yet to be seen if that's enough to fade it in this head and shoulders bottom, but it's really at a very important moment. This does look like 5 up. This could be a very complex structure here and still be bearish, so I don't really like to even label this. Now, if I look closely enough, this definitely looks impulsive to me, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the cycle ended here. And then all this is just either a connector or more noise or whatever it is. So I don't like to label it. So this could be still in the 2 wave. We could still have a 1 and then come down in 2 and out, which is what I prefer to see. But you can't rule out the more bullish scenario where you have something like this and you're about to explode out of here. So it's like I said, you're going to have to do what's best for you. I still don't like to trade crypto, but you guys got to make your own decision on that. And the reason I don't like trade crypto is I still think the market's going to be under pressure. Oil is making its next leg higher, and it's continuing to be supported. This was a good dip buy here, and then you have a 1 2 1 2. If we can take out 94, that will really open up some nice upside in oil, and we'll have to relabel the chart. Oil could have been a really good buy today. It just was a risk. It's always risky buying oil, but today could have been a potential buy area. But I do think since it's a flat correction, it could drop lower, and I'm not going to take that risk personally, but do what's best for you. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bottom today, but if it could bounce and fail, that would be a much better setup, which I would take. Gold is almost at our sell area. It's about a couple of dollars short. It could be done at any moment. If gold's done, that means the market should be back under pressure again as we get the Y leg. And silver is close to its sell area. And then the interest rates, I warned everyone about, FOMOing in the bonds. We're still in a wave 5, and that wave 5 is playing out, and it could turn into another wave 3 if momentum really keeps going here. And this was a great dip buy right here on rates or short bonds, which I gave last video, and it's pretty much been going straight up on a nice upward trend line. The 30-year also is nicely moving higher and should continue higher in this 5th wave. What was also interesting is the 10-year took out, so this is major resistance, here historical resistance, and we got rejected, and we came up, and now I think this time we get through it. And so the next this is next course historical resistance is 515. This is a massive horizontal resistance, historical in nature. If for some reason we can break through that, it's really no horizontal resistance that I can see till 7%. So that means pretty much it could be a straight shot from 5.2, 5.4 to 7%. There could be a massive panic that may take place in the bond market as that plays out, as people are still trying to call the bottom by buying the dip in TLT and stuff. And I don't recommend it, and I'm not trading bonds because of the erratic nature and where we are, where it could still accelerate even more than we've seen. The VIX has been really tricky, so we did get bounce here, straight vertical. We're pulled back now, and so now we have this kind of connecting pattern. I do look at this as potentially a reversal in a left shoulder head, and we're going to form a right shoulder and reverse out, and then we can actually come out and finish this pattern. So we have this pattern that's lasted for many months. It's probably better to see it on the daily. Here, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. When this finishes, we should break out of that, and we should hit 26, but potentially even higher. And then it would be risky to be short the market when that happens. But now we're stuck here. So where's the next area the VIX could drop back to? So let's take a look and just again trying to trade the VIX. And if we look here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like it's 5 waves down here. And so if we're just gonna kind of chart it here, it goes down all the way down to 1492. So that's the next area that, again, if it were to pull back and we get a market pump, the time, like when should I short? If we start getting a market pump over 443, 444, getting higher, I would just watch the VIX. But when the VIX is 1492, that would be probably a good area to start to think about shorting the market, which it's been every time it's hit these areas. But there's no guarantee that this may happen. This could still be part of a corrective pattern. We could still be going higher. So just throw it out there as something to keep an eye on. All right, technology, just real quick. As you can see, today wasn't about NVIDIA. I gave that short opportunity, put it on my Twitter, and it's pretty much been straight down ever since. And honestly, when you look at this, we didn't know about the news today. None of us knew about the news, and it just, that's what happens. News finds the price, and this could be, sorry, here, it looks like this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and get a fifth wave. It could be a 1, 2, so many options. It could even put the 3 here and the 4 here. So, but just for the general part, it should be trending lower to finish this top-in pattern that we have here. Let's take a look at some of the other tech stocks. Apple under pressure near the short area, keeps going down. How about Amazon? I hit the 2, it's under pressure, just like I had. Google, I think we'll flat out. This is the sell area. If it can make it there, that would be the short opportunity. I don't think it will. Facebook looks like it's flat out. I have to give a target. It should be a little higher if it comes. Now Tesla's got earnings coming up. It's still in this 2 wave. It could even push higher in 2 and reverse later, so it could pump on earnings and then get rejected a day later. I could play like tricks on traders. Netflix is in actually a buy area on a 3-wave move down and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as you can see here. But then you made a connector, and now you broke that. So now this sequence is going to continue lower, even though it is in an area where it should start to find support. Let's see if any of the cycles broke. So we're still in the corrective cycle. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, we're still in the corrective cycle. Nothing has changed. So we're still in Y. So I do think more downsides needed, but I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe the correction finish on earnings and reverse at some point. So we have an A, B, and now we're in C. And I'm looking at a C wave. So here, and again, this is where you have to do what's best for you. Could it be this? If it's that means the correction should be over and earnings could be a pump here, but it may not turn into that, right? It still could be another 1, 2. We don't know. So I don't like the structure, so I wouldn't like to go long this in the earnings or short it. Apple, yeah, we covered Apple. Okay. So just kind of looking at different stocks. Adobe's in the sell area, trying to struggling. AMD hit the short area and just took a massive reject it there nicely. And it's in a 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, people just are so excited, but it's not really people. I think it's like market maker, or some people call it Aladdin, or whoever's trying to manipulate the market. I believe somebody big is using the market to maybe influence, for all we know, political decisions, create an environment of support, in when there's like a big event that's supposed to happen. So I think people have learned that the market is a tool that can be used to pursue political agendas, and I believe through that tool, someone very big knows how to keep things where they are. But I do think whoever's doing that, or whatever entity's doing it, is going to get overwhelmed. We almost saw that on Friday, where they'll lose control. And if they lose control, then the price should just go back to its natural place, wherever that is. And I don't know where that would be, because really this Aladdin or magic hand has been in the market for many, many years. If you've been trading it, where you get these magical recoveries at weird moments before weird events, and just it's just too coincidental, and it must not be random when I can just do a couple fibs and it always reverses. So it's a very technical market. So that means there's somebody that has a good understanding of the technicals that's pushing the market around, and this is kind of how they're set up to play it. So I just think we're at a very important moment for the market in general. So here you have Shopify, just looking at it. Looks like that's finished. And now we have a connector, so this setup is now gone. And that's actually very bearish, because we never got deep enough, and so that means we could go much lower. So this is kind of interesting. Wayfair looks like it hit the buy area today, but with divergence, which is never a good sign. I wouldn't buy it until we got more downside. And then someone asked me about mRNA. So mRNA hit our buy area. We've had this on for months and months and months, and it finally hit. So now do you have the courage to buy it, right? Of course, no one wants to buy it because it's selling off for a reason. So there it is. So today would have been the day to buy it and start going long Moderna. Its earnings are coming up on the second. You have a 1-2, 1-2, and now you're in 3. So there are more swings lower. So it should go lower because of the swings, right? You need 5 waves, and you're in 3 of 3. So you still need 4s and 5s. So I want to see some choppiness, and then it may be worth an opportunity to take a long position. So we'll see how that plays out. That is all I'm going to say today. So that's it, guys. So I think the market's at a very important point in its in its cycle, because you have a lot of 1-2s, right? A lot of swings. You have a 1-2, 1-2, and then you have another 1-2, and then another 1-2. So you have too many 1-2s. So these 1-2s are going to unravel either explosively to the upside in a huge move higher, or the opposite. Wave 3 will hit, and we will be down here before we blink an eye. So we have an explosive move coming. I favor, the downside. So that's how I'm going to play it. But you guys got to do what's best for you, and we'll see what happens with this news, with the war. Biden's over in the Middle East, and I'm going to be there, and a lot of news and anger coming out. And we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But it seems to me things are getting worse, which is a sign I said to watch for if you're going to get an unravel. In the stock market, things will get worse, not better. And it seems like that, although there seemed to be this miracle pause after Friday, because I do think the Aladdin of the market almost got blown up. And there would have been a market catastrophe, I think, like in a blink of an eye. And I think that scared the shit out of a bunch of people. And then all of a sudden, it was bad weather. We can't move forward. Oh, Biden's going to come over for talk. All of a sudden, all this push for peace and negotiations and things. But yet, but that's really the market talking, right? It's really other people talking. When you really look at what's happening on the battlefield, no one's really let up. The main actors, aren't capitulating, especially on the Israel side. So, so I think this news and these things that we're reading in the media, I think they really are designed to calm traders' nerves, to keep the market, because they want to drop it when everyone's prepared, when they're prepared, when the dealers and market makers are prepared, and when Aladdin's prepared. And when all that happens, then the market will be allowed to unravel very violently. And then until then, you just got to sit back and play with their games that are happening. But I do think it's Friday was a really interesting day in the market. The way the VIX spiked, but the market was like bought up in a panic way, so unorthodox. So I do think somebody really had a huge wake up call. And I will end this on the Aladdin or whatever. I do remember in the March 2020 correction, we were in a free fall moment, and I do remember Greenspan was interviewed at the end of the free fall period, let me see if I can remember exactly, somewhere around here was his interview, somewhere in this area. I think it was after we ricocheted off the bottom here. And he said, yeah, we need somebody to write a paper and study in school about how this unraveled so fast, because he said, we have mechanisms, and I don't know his words, where basically he said, we have things in place to make sure that something like that doesn't happen, and it happened, and we need to study and understand why the market fell apart so quickly, and he was shocked to see that happen. So I believe Aladdin also got blown up right here, where I have a circle, as if I remember from my trading experience. I do believe this was the nice dip buy, and Aladdin was going to pump it back up. And we're going to fill this, this magical gap, right? We're going to fill that. And Aladdin was good, but then Aladdin got blown up right here. And as soon as he got blown up, the whole freaking thing just melted down, disorderly, out of control. So I think that's the same type of thing that can happen. So Aladdin can get blown up. It can be overwhelmed with volume. It can't stop, billions of people from hitting the sell button and keep the market. They don't have that kind of firepower. They have enough, but they don't have that much. So I do think if panic really sets in the market, Aladdin won't be there to save you. That's all I've got.